students, I hope everyone has had a great lunch and is ready to learn. Today we are going to continue with our lesson about graphs. First, I want someone to tell me what type of graph this is right here. Yes?
Bar graph.
Great. Now can someone tell me why we use bar graphs? Yes?
We use it to organize data.
That is exactly right. Someone remind me what we call the side and the bottom of the graph. Right here and right here. Yes?
The x and the y axis.
Perfect. Looks like y'all have been paying great attention. The definition of a bar graph is a diagram in which the numerical values of variables are represented by the height or length of lines or rectangles of equal width. Based off of this definition, can a bar graph have both horizontal and vertical bars to show the data? Yes?
Yes.
Good, perfect. Here's an example of one bar graph with horizontal bars right here and one with vertical bars, and they're both considered bar graphs. So today we will actually be constructing our own bar graphs using data that we collect ourselves. First, we're going to review a little more by going over some examples of bar graphs and answering some questions about them. Okay, we're going to start the lesson by going over some more examples. This will get us more prepared to create our own bar graph in a little bit. These should be fairly easy for y'all to answer, so let's see how much you really know. Okay, here's example 1 right here. Here we have some data collected from a former class about their favorite sport. I want someone to raise their hand and tell me 2 things. 1, is this a proper bar graph? And 2, what sport did most students select as their favorite? Yes?
This is a proper bar graph, and soccer is the most popular sport of this class.
That is exactly right. This bar graph is made correctly, and the most popular sport is soccer for this class, as you can see right here. Now, someone tell me the least popular sport according to this data. Yes?
I think it would be other.
Yes, that is correct. This category right here is other. The bar graph, this is correct. So on the bar graph, other means a sport that is not soccer, not softball, and not basketball. Great job on the graph. Okay, now example 2. Let's look at this one. Is this bar graph missing anything? If so, what is it missing? Yes?
This bar graph doesn't have a title.
Great job. You caught the mistake. A title is important to have because it tells the person reading it what the graph is talking about. What is an appropriate name for this graph?
Favorite types of books.
Yes, that would be great for this bar graph. You can tell this by looking at the words on the x-axis and the y-axis. It is obvious that the maker of this bar graph surveyed a group of people about their favorite genre of books. Who can tell me what type of book was the most popular according to this graph? Yes?
Comic books.
Perfect. We see that because, look, it has the most numbers. That is correct. Now let's look at this example. Is this an example of a bar graph?
I don't think so.
You are correct. Can someone tell me why this isn't a bar graph?
I'm not sure, but the bars look different.
You are right. The bars do look different. They look different because there are no spaces between them. This is a common mistake people make when they create their own bar graph. Bar graphs have spaces between the bars, but histograms do not because they're continual. Therefore, this is an example of a histogram, not a bar graph. For our last example, we're going to look at the worksheet that you have in front of you, and we're going to answer some questions. So on the worksheet, you see that it has children's eye color. Can someone answer question number 1 for me? The question is, how many children have brown eyes?
I would say about 3 since the middle of 2 and 4.
You are correct. That's what I was looking for. Since the bar isn't exactly on 2 or 4, we would guess it's 3. And since we can't have 3/4 of one person having brown eyes, we round to the whole number. What about question 2? Can you say it and then answer it?
Most children have blue eyes.
Perfect. That is exactly right. Let's move to our next question before we start our activity. Number 3.
There are 29 children that surveyed.
That's great. All you do is add up the number for each color using the number of children on the y-axis. So now that we have gone over some examples, let me ask you all a question. What is the difference between a bar graph and a histogram?
A bar graph has the space between the bars, and a histogram has no space.
Great job. Seems like you're paying great attention. Now, does anyone else have any further questions?
No, ma'am. I think we're ready.
Awesome. Let's start our activity. Okay, here are the directions for our activity today, and you should have this worksheet in front of you that is up on the board. I'm going to give you this worksheet and some M&Ms, which should be also on your table. Don't open the M&Ms until told to do so. Once you are told to do so, open the M&Ms and record your data on the worksheet. Record the number of each color M&M you have in your bag and the spaces provided on the sheet. Answer the following questions based on the data you collected from your own bag of M&Ms. After this worksheet has been filled out, you will create your own bar graph using this information. Don't forget to add things such as the title, x-axis, and the y-axis title. Remember all of the things needed for a bar graph to be correct. All of your bar graphs won't look the same, so don't freak out when your neighbors look really different than yours. You are doing your own data collection. The papers to make the bar graph will be placed on your tables. Markers, pencils, and crayons are available on the tables. Good luck, and let me know if you have any questions. And here's your paper for your bar graph. Hi, Allison. How are you doing over here?
I'm doing good.
I see that you have no brown M&Ms. Is that true?
Yeah, I do have one brown one. I must have forgot to pull it.
Oh, it's important to double check your work before you move on, because if not, your questions below would not be accurate, and neither would your graph. Make sure to double check from now on.
Yes, ma'am. Now I know. Thank you.
No problem. How's this table doing?
We're doing great. This is so much fun.
I can see you all working really hard, and it shows from the great work you're all doing. Keep it up. I'll give you a few more seconds to finish up. Okay, so let's stop where we are. I want to thank the whole class for their hard work on this assignment. If you didn't complete it all, we have a few minutes tomorrow to finish our graphs. Now that we've created our own graphs, let's review what we have learned today. We got more comfortable interpreting graphs. We learned the difference between a histogram and bar graph. We learned how to create our own bar graph with information we gathered ourselves. Now, can someone remind me of the purpose of graphs?
Graphs help us organize data.
That is exactly right. Can someone tell me one thing that is important to have on a bar graph?
The title.
Perfect, you are right. A title is very important for any graph. Okay, so we're going to look at one more example. It should be on your table. Now look at this graph. What type of graph is it?
This is a histogram.
You are correct. Someone else remind me what makes this a histogram and not a bar graph?
A histogram has no spaces between the bars, and a bar graph does have spaces.
You are all such great listeners. Awesome job. Now, I want you to tell me one way that creating a bar graph could help you in your life, or sometime you've experienced someone making a bar graph.
One time my mom created a bar graph with my friends' names on their favorite colors, so we knew what color of goodies they should have on their goodie bags at my birthday party. This helped my mom stay organized.
That is an awesome example. I wouldn't have thought of that, but I'm sure it really helped y'all out for the party. Now that we've created our own bar graphs in class, you should all feel comfortable doing it on your own. Your homework that is due Friday is to create your own bar graph at home about anything you would like. Make sure to add all the things we talked about today. Have fun with it. We will share some on Friday. After we are finished with bar graphs, we're going to talk more about some other graphs. Thank y'all.